Hello, Jeff Helvin here with Ballen Brands, and today I want to help answer a question that is asked from time to time, which is my website working? So one of the things that we can do with our website is we're not always getting leads, every single day we're getting forms filled out. I mean, it's great if we are, but not always is that the case. So what we want to do, especially for a new website that's being launched or something that hasn't been online for too long, we want to know if the things that we're working on, pages we're adding, people we're sending there, whether or not it's effective, if we're getting any results from that. So one of the best ways to do that is through website analytics. Now, there's lots of different tools to measure website progress, success, whether it's search engines using something like SEMrush, like where you rank. But what I'm talking about here is really just on your website. Once people get to your website, whether it's through direct links, whether it's through social, whether it's through searches, just an overall kind of view on whether or not your website is getting any traction. So I have our website pulled up right now just as a kind of a sample here, and what we use is called Clicky Analytics. Now obviously you can use something like Google Analytics, which is a little geeky, but some of the same ideas will apply here. But in Clicky Analytics, we like to use that because it gives us a pretty straight view of what we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and click over to Clicky. So I've logged into Clicky Analytics, and you can have multiple websites in here. We just have the one. I just have ballenbrands.com up right now, and you'll see kind of a general screen here. Now, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and click on the actual, not just take the little screenshot, but go ahead and click on the actual domain here. And this is a snapshot. Now, by default, again, it's just today. So if I look up here, you'll see it just says December 28th. That's when I'm recording this video, and that is just specifically today. So you'll see some details here, but really I want to get a more thorough kind of a historical view here. So I'm going to actually click on this, and I'm going to go to last 28 days. So I want to see about kind of the last month, what's happening here, just as an overall overview. So I'm going to walk through some of these details. Now, basically what you'll see here off to the right is this is the change from time over time. So in the last 28 days, how's it comparing to the previous 28 days? So that's how we're comparing this so we can kind of see our progress month over month. Okay, so in this case, you'll see if it has the red, then it means it's down from the previous 28 days. So November 5th through November 30th, basically somewhere around there, is performed a little higher. We had more visitors than we did from December 5th through December 28th, or whatever those date ranges are. So that's what that's telling you. Here we have actions, so you'll see that number's down a little bit. Average actions, the number's up. So you'll see these red and these green numbers based on progress. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that there are internet trends. So during the holidays, people tend to go more to e-commerce websites and things like that, social media, than they do maybe searching for whatever it is that you offer, whether it's in real estate or if you are running an e-commerce store. Like, not all numbers will always be the same. So what I mean by that is right now we're down 15%. Doesn't necessarily mean the website's not performing well. It's just an indication also of possibly the internet behaviors. Okay, so your website visitors and so forth, there just maybe less people looking right now. So the point of looking at the numbers isn't necessarily to like, oh, it's red, it's bad, but it is an indication of what's going on. If we see that month over month over month, then there's definitely a problem, right? So here we're going to take a look at what each of these means, just to kind of give you an idea. Now, this program goes in super deep. I mean, specific IP addresses, where they're coming from, all that. But I'm just going to stay here on the dashboard, just a little screenshot to give you some kind of tips. So first is the visitors. That gives you basically an idea of how many different IP addresses accessed your website in the last 28 days. So you'll see in this case, in ours, it was somewhere around 2,700. So the previous 28 days, if it was up 15%, then we would have been over 3,000. So kind of gives you an idea month over month what we're looking at. Number of actions would be the total number of clicks, basically, whether it's clicking to another page, clicking to download something. that would be an action. So of the 2,745 visitors, there were 4,028 clicks, actions for, again, page to page or downloads. So the average actions is 1.5. So you'll see it's interesting that even though the visitors are down and the overall actions are down because there's less visitors, the average action is up 7%. So maybe my average action was 1.3, whereas now it's 1.5. So the people who are coming to the website basically are interacting more. So that's how those numbers work out. The total time, that's going to be, again, your total time for everybody. In this case, it says 6 days, so that would be like 24 hours times 6. So that's your total time that people spent on the website. And again, that's down, of course, because the average or the visitors are down. But you'll notice the average time per visit is up 11% to 3 minutes and 28 seconds. So each person that's coming to the website is staying on there longer and they're clicking around a little bit more. Okay. And then lastly, we have bounce rate. So bounce rate is down 10%. So this maybe was 35% last month, whereas this month is 33%. So again, it means less people are coming to the website, but the ones that are coming are getting more out of it. They're staying around longer. They're more serious maybe, or have more intent around what they're looking at. So again, keep in mind that sometimes if one number's down, it'll make other numbers down, but it doesn't necessarily mean the website's not performing. It might just mean the traffic that you're getting is different from the previous month. So basically take those considerations in mind. It could absolutely mean the website's not doing as well, but in a lot of cases, there's some sort of indicator that would define a little better what is causing that difference there, okay? So then we're gonna go down, we have links. These are the actual pages that are sending traffic to your website. So in our case, Lori Ballen, of course, was the original founder of Ballen Brands. And so she has a lot of influence still, of course, in our web traffic and everything else. So you'll see things like Lori Ballen, Ballen Blogger, Ballen Vegas. We also have our YouTube videos, of course, that we do. We've got our Trello board, so that's kind of our internal board where we get some links from that. Blink Marketing Agency is a company that we work with and have some affiliation with. We've done some Google ads. We've got other sites. So these are all different places where traffic is being sent to us. Now you'll see, for instance, again, down a little bit, but it stands to reason that if internet traffic as a whole is down a little bit on certain things, well then we'll also see that trend maybe in these other platforms. So again, focus on kind of what you are getting, not so much what you aren't in this particular case. So a lot more traffic from this particular source, a lot more YouTube video watches. So really read into each one, without getting an overall scare or panic. Just kind of see what each one of those means to you. Okay. Then we go down to searches. So you'll actually see most of the searches that are coming to the website. These are people who did a search on a search engine. They clicked on a result that then took them to your website. Okay, this doesn't just mean how many times your website showed up in a search result, but how many times someone actually clicked to come over. So you'll see, again, down a little bit. If you notice the number here, 14%, 15%, see how close that is? So most of that is based on web traffic, searches for things that are related to what we offer in our business. So you'll see a lot of times that that's consistent. So we've had over the 2,000 searches that clicks to our website that came from searches. And it just says secure search, meaning Google and other search engines, they're not releasing what keyword it was that got them here. Now, in some case we do, pricing, website design, what are differences between static and dynamic websites. These are because people were doing searches while not logged in. Therefore, it was not a security violation to them to pass what the actual search result was. So sometimes you'll get to see what the searches are, but most of the time you won't. Okay. Then if we go down here, you can actually see where the traffic's coming from. Again, depending on if you're in other markets, certainly some of these are, potential spam bots and things like that. That's always going to exist. But again, we kind of focus on, but look at that, 14% down and 15% down. You'll see a correlation there a lot of times from that. Now, when I go back in January, toward the end of January, and look at the month over month, there'll likely be an increase because people are kind of back online doing business again, searching for what it is that we have to offer. So you'll definitely see, some variations, right, throughout the year based on just general internet trends. And the last thing that I like to show you too, of course, you have a nice little chart over here. It kind of shows the month over month, kind of where that's all happening. But here's the content. So these are the actual pages that are getting the most traffic. So you'll see, what's performing basically, like where people are coming to. Now, this is just how many pages are getting views, not necessarily where they landed. Okay, we do have that here too. Under entrance is where they landed, so it's the page they came in on. Exit would be the page they left from, right? They looked at that page and then they left. What downloads they did and media and so forth. But in this case, pages is just kind of a general overview that shows you kind of where everybody's going, right? So here, that little slash, that just means your homepage. So 432 direct visits to our homepage specifically. Now, that's something to keep in mind. We like to let people know that, every page really should serve like a landing page these days. It used to be that there was a homepage that had all this information, and then that would lead people into the interior pages. But now a lot of times people are coming right to specific pages because of the search results. So you'll see we had only 432 people visited our homepage out of 2,700 visitors. Okay, so most people don't ever even see our homepage. So keep that in mind. It's one of those little, less talked about items, but it's just something important to understand. And so then we have our Ballen Real Estate website page, and we have one of our blogs for 15 of the best IDX real estate websites. Then we have our page about KW command services that we offer. So you kind of see this is where people are going. This is what they're looking at. So again, sometimes you'll see like, oh, more people are looking at, checking us out, right, than they were last month, or more people are interested in pay-per-click right now than they were last month. So those are the types of things that really give us some insight if we take a look at that and what it means. Now, not everybody's great at translating data, so we're happy to help. This is something that we really enjoy, actually, is kind of looking at statistics and doing that. So if you don't have analytics installed, we'd love to help you get that set up. Again, we use Clicky Analytics. We'll provide the link as well. And if you do have something like this but need help reading it, then feel free to reach out to us at team@ballenbrands.com.